Hello, welcome back to these book reviews. I'm hoping that you're doing okay. I'm doing good. I'm just excited that I'm doing this, and I've always wanted to do a lot of book reviews because I read a lot, and sometimes it's good to discuss it with somebody else. That's why book clubs are good. Sometimes they don't always work for everybody, so this is good too to kind of maybe explore what we read and what the mean is. And I think that's always good to have a reflection and an audience to listen to you a little bit. And you're both learning some value in your life. And I'm hoping that you are taking what we're discussing together and, kind of maybe applying it to everyday life because it makes you more aware of what you're doing in life, I think. So I have an interesting book today. It is called Take the Stairs. And it's by Rory Vaden. I think that's how you said that. And it says the 7 steps to achieving true success. Now, you're probably thinking, this is a book on success again. It's partly that, but it's mostly partly on procrastination. Procrastination is a big problem today because we get so bogged down with technology, doing a lot of stuff for us in a way, I think, without the thinking in. Or maybe we just don't have the time because maybe we're working 2 jobs. Or maybe you're just lazy, I guess, because maybe laziness is a learned trait. I don't think you're born lazy. I think you learn it. It's just like procrastination. And we all have a little bit of procrastination, I think. And sometimes procrastination can be a devil to you. Yeah, it could be like a maybe a relaxation thing. I don't know, but we're gonna dive into that. That's kind of what the point of this book is that the author of this book, he's an award-winning trainer, strategist, and motivational speaker who empowers professionals to conquer their fears. Maybe their fears of procrastinating too long, and they're not reaching the highest points, or they're just not doing what they want to do. And so this book was written in 2012, so it's a little bit, it's outdated a little bit, more than 10 years or so, but it gives you a little bit of value still, right? And yes, we've had, the pandemic and stuff like that, and there's a lot of things that have changed, but let's put that aside for a little bit. But we're going to focus on procrastination here. So the thing is, you kind of want to get out book. This is kind of like a self-help book. A lot of stuff what I read is some of it's more some self-help books, but there's a lot of value into that. But there's other things too that we can read, and you should read an assortment of stuff. But it emphasizes the importance of self-discipline because self-discipline is something that you have to kind of gain. And a lot of people suffer with self-discipline. They haven't learned self-discipline in their life. And it's through hard work as well. And that's achieving that success. Remember, success means something different to everybody. And as you saw in other videos, it means something that you can see maybe, but you have to put a way to get there. Okay? The book is designed for people to overcome procrastination and stay motivated, which that was the whole point of this, right? Taking the stairs. And we're going to discuss what that means. Today we kind of have things to help us out. But for example, we have magazines, we have speakers, we have a speaker, we have other people that come to give us a motivational speak. We have books. We have pharmaceutical stuff like pills that kind of give us things for motivation, energy maybe. But it's what are we looking for? In all that we're looking for what we call a common denominator. We're looking for the secret formula, the secret to becoming more achievable, and that's part of the easy way. We kind of want to see the path of least resistance, right? We kind of want to take the easy way because life gets a lot harder, and maybe we always want to go through life, and that doesn't always value who you are. And so what he's trying to mention is that it takes hard work, but it's also you have to work smart. And taking the stairs is a little bit more gradual process than taking an escalator. Escalator, you're just constantly doing this, right? You're going to get there a little faster. But does that require you to do a lot more work? It doesn't, because you're letting the machine do all the work for you. And so there's no physical change when you get to the top. So the escalator is going like this, but there's no physical change at the top. And so the stairs are, you walk upstairs, it's just like a slope, right? Rise over run, rise over run. And each time that you're doing rise over run at the next step, you're becoming a lot more hard worked and more goal orientated, more satisfactory with yourself. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on how your mind's set up for this, right? And yes, it takes a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of time to get there, but it's the journey, but it's also the endpoint that you are succeeding of your success. So here we go. Today we have this escalator mentality. Remember, the escalator says that that's the getting where, he says this in the book. One that says getting what we shouldn't requires much work. And I was kind of very vague about this, so I'm trying to lower it down into our terms that we can kind of think. We take an escalator because we want to have everything done for us to get to the top, because we don't have much time, I guess. Well, time as you think that we don't have a lot of time. There's a lot of time out there. We just need to use it well. And so we want everything now. And we don't want to put the time into earning it always, because we have the mentality of now. And success means we have to develop a self-discipline to get ourselves to do things we don't want to do. Stay up late, not go to friends' gatherings, sacrifice time, sacrifice some sleepless nights because we have a test the next couple weeks or something like that. You kind of want to build that in. You need to do things in order to have that success. And sometimes it's just extra money too. It just could be just energy too, that you're trying to gather what you want to fulfill that. So procrastination is just a creator that we made for ourselves. We created procrastination because procrastination in our minds is just to kind of relieve pressure, maybe. And so he kind of goes over this a little bit. I really want you to kind of look at this. There's three types of procrastination. And I like this because I never knew about this, the thing about this. So there's three types of procrastination. If you don't know what procrastination is, he says that we put things off for a time because we don't want to take care of them. So if you look up procrastination, it might say a little bit more than that, but I think it's just a way that we put off things for later because we don't want to do it right now, because we don't have the energy or time or mentality to do them, and we just think that I'm going to do it at the very end. But there's three. He defines that there's three types of procrastination. One is the classical procrastination is the consciously, you can see it, right? Consciously is that you're awake, is you're delaying what you should be doing. And that's classical. The next one, number two, is priority delusion. Priority delusion. And high performers of people do this. They kind of have this delusion, so they have so much going on, and they have their day planned out in this kind of like the delusion that they have to get everything done in that particular time. And so they kind of dilute their thinking into that they have everything they have to do, but what happens is that they kind of prioritize their procrastination. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. That's how I kind of got from the book. The third one of procrastination is creative avoidance. Creative avoidance. And creative avoidance is that you're filling the day with mediocre work. So you're kind of not making no progress at all. You're doing your big stuff in your way. Maybe your thing is you need to clean the house today. You want to clean the house, so you make Sunday a clean house day. And what happens is that what you do, you get up late, you make breakfast, you get interested in a TV show, you don't put the timing right, and then you have to kind of have the energy because maybe you're filled with food, so your mind's off that a little bit, and then it becomes like, oh, I need to get the kitchen done today because that was thing. So you get the kitchen done, but you don't do the kitchen fully. You kind of see what my point there is, and that's part of that you're creating that avoidance. It's like you have everything you did everything, but now you're kind of avoiding doing the whole kitchen. And it's probably not the best explanation of that, but I like how the 3 types of procrastination. I never heard all 3 types. So classical, prioritized, and creative. So in the book, we have a lot of distractions, and he talks about success at the same time. And I don't want to discuss too much about success because if you watch other videos, I describe success more. And he says that success is often not the result of our major decisions, but more deceptively is the sum of all the small, seamlessly insightful ones. So he's probably saying is that you have the big umbrella success that you want to get done, but the little things right here add up to that sum. So I think that's what he was trying to say. So success is never owned. It is only rented. And the rent is due every day. I love that quote. Let me read it one more time. Success is never owned. You don't own success. It is only rented. And the rent is due every day. So think about that. Kind of cool. So he says that in the book, where he says 7 steps to achieving true success. The 7 steps to this is sacrifice, commitment, focus, integrity, schedule, faith, and action. So that's the 7 strategies to be more focused, more successful. And so let's go through these. I'm not going to go through them so much because of our time and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep these short a little bit. So the first one is sacrifice. It's almost like a tug and war kind of thing. He describes it like a tug and war. Tug and war means that you have a rope and each side is pulling you towards this way or this way, right? Tug and war is like this, right? And we do this all the time, and we have to sacrifice things in the day. There's only so much time during a day to do whatever you want to do, and everything takes time. And it takes time and energy. So you have to think about what are you sacrificing here? I mean, choices that are easy in the short term are very often in direct conflict when it makes life easier in the long term. And so what seems easy in the short term really isn't easy in the long term. So it depends. So it's like time and energy. And it takes a lot of sacrifices. Maybe you have to sacrifice going to a birthday party. Maybe you sacrifice alone time with, maybe you want to watch a TV program and you can't watch it right now. You want to stream something on. Maybe you want to go to the bank. There's so much we can mention here, but you just have to. Things take time, and it takes sacrifice, and it just depends on how you want to approach things. And so the next one under this is commitment. We have to have commitment to everything we do, right? And it takes commitment to make something done. So he says that commitment is the more we have invested into something, the less likely we are to let it fail. So if you have a lot of investment in, say, getting smarter, you're going to work at it. You're going to work at it because that's hopefully what you're investing in. You're investing in watching these, which I completely thank you for. You're investing because you want to get some information about a book, or you kind of want to just listen about the message that I'm getting from the book. And maybe you can critique your own later. That's an investment. You're getting, I'm investing when I'm reading these because I take everything that I can from these quotes, words, information, and that's what I'm taking from these. So I'm taking a lot of investment because I want to get smarter. I want to be prepared when I'm confronted in a speech or, on the street someday. Just want to be a lifelong learner. So I want to make commitment to that. And you have to have the right attitude. Attitude's everything. If you have a positive attitude, great. If you have a low attitude, well, you may have to change that. And so you have like what he calls it a pivot point. The pivot point is something right here, and this is kind of like your decision, and this is your threshold. Threshold is how much you can handle, and it's really about your attitude. So if your attitude is towards, I want to read more, you're going to be towards going this way, right? Your pivot point. How much threshold, or how much are you willing to commit to that? Should I and should I not? Words are very good indicators of this. And he says that, it's how you speak is how you present yourself. So for example, it's a different mindset of saying, should I, or how will I? See the difference there? Should I? How will I? What seems better? How will I, right? Because how will I means that you're gonna do it. You're gonna say it. Should, it's like, well, I should go to this or this. I should clean this. I should do this. It kind of gives you like an option, or maybe a yes or no. But how is, you're more positive. You're thinking about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and what way you're going to do it in. So it's that mindset shift. And so it's the cost of missing out is more than the cost of messing up. We have this mentality is that, we don't want to miss out on things, but we also don't want to mess things up. So I think that's really cool. And attitude is simply the way you choose to see things. So the next one is called focus. Out of these seven, achieving for success. And focus is the next one. Focus is literally power. When we dilute focus, we dilute results. See that? It's kind of cool, huh? And it's just the law of attraction. Law of attraction says if I have something here, I'm going to attract everything. If I have a positive attitude and focus, I am attracting everything to it. That's that laser focused. That laser focus, not broad spectrum. And it takes time to do this, and you're really thinking about your thinking. It's called metacognition. You're thinking about your thinking, and you're assessing your strategies, and you're focusing on priorities for your success. And you have to have vision for this. Vision is just you're inspiring your mental picture that people and actions want to go on. The next one is integrity. So out of these seven, he says the next one is integrity. Integrity is kind of like how you're creating it. How are you making it work? And you think, you speak it, you act it, it happens. Words are the engine that sets actions into motion. It's how you're speaking, not just to somebody, it's how you're speaking to yourself. If you're speaking very positively and action orientated, you're going to make yourself more engaged in things. And we do this all the time. We talk very negatively sometimes about ourselves. Oh, I'm not good at math. I'm not good at sports. I'm not good at friendships. I don't like people. We do this all the time, but you're setting yourself up for self-destruction. You don't want to try. You might enlighten yourself. And so, giving compliments to people really does help. When you give compliments to people, it opens their brain up. It gives them a feel good. And you have this law of attraction. If you give people a compliment, I like the sweater you're wearing. I like how you are becoming, you're sitting next to me in class and you're helping me on things. You have a awesome attitude. You give people this positiveness, it attracts back. Negative attracts back too. And you kind of want to use, we have this things called, we want to hold people accountable for their actions, right? And for what they say too. And he says that there's a couple things in here that kind of gets people away from you. So it's the opposite of law of attraction. It's a law of reflection. And what this means is that you're breaking promises. to people. You're promising something and then you don't do it. Oh, I promise to take you to the mall tomorrow. Then you don't show up. You just blow them off. There's more than that. So you're breaking promises. The second one is that you have uncontrollable language. Hollywood does this, and it really irritates me when they just have every sentence F you, F you, F, 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 the F word. And they're just cussing and they're just talking negatively. I just want to shut that off. And I don't know what the whole point of all that is. It doesn't make you more approachable. It makes you like you just don't know nothing. It's how you speak. But today's world it's more so like, well, Hollywood's doing it all the time. That means I know how. That means if they're getting ratings, I can do that too, and I get the same ratings. No, think about how you're talking in the language. So that uncontrollable language, maybe you're tearing people down that you're saying negative things about them. You're talking behind their back. The fourth one is that you're creating these back doors. Oh, well, I want to go to a party, but I'm only going to be there for 5 minutes. I'm going to get the hell out of there because I don't want to be around people. Oh, I want to come to that birthday party, but I'm going to kind of make a back door and go somewhere else. You kind of want to run away. The next thing is that you have intellectual dishonesty. Intellectual dishonesty. That means you're saying things that are not true. I'm not saying that, you say, oh, this book is terrible. No, you're saying that, hey, that person over there, he's not very smart, he's very dumb. You're saying things that are not true personally, but maybe they could be related to a book too. I don't know. But those are the 5 ones of a law of repulsion. He doesn't really come up with that word. He calls it something else, but I like that. I'm going to call it that because I think that's what we do. We want to propel people away. And just remember that the microphone is always on. Think about this. Even though that people might not think that they're watching you in a crowd, there's people that do pay attention to what you do in life. Even though that you don't think that they're paying attention. It's the small things that count sometimes. So anyway, sometimes the road to progress is paved with sacrifice. So progress is something that gets done with sacrifices. I'm not talking about you have to abandon your whole life. I'm talking about, maybe sleeping a little bit less, maybe working a little bit more, maybe being a lot more patient with yourself, and applying more energy. Some basic sacrifices you have to do. And that's to make progress. And so the next thing is he in the seven here, faith. Now, I'm not a big religious guy, so how you view faith, that's fine. I'm going to put it in this perspective. Faith is just something to change your behavior. Faith is something that describe your mindset into that. So, for example, you might say, I have faith that I can do better. What you're doing, you're setting yourself up to be on the right path. I'm not trying to relate this to God and all that good stuff. I don't want to get into that stuff like that. But it's what you're saying to inspire yourself to go on. So that's what the faith is. The 7, the last one, is called action in the 7. And action is kind of, you got to get going. And he talks about the law of action. The law of action says that it does not matter what we say we believe. Our real beliefs are revealed by how we get or how we act. Yeah, I like that. And he kind of talks about the law of pendulum. You know what a pendulum is, right? A pendulum, you stretch it back and it kind of goes like this. That's what a pendulum does. And I wanted to read you a thing in the book, but I'm looking at our time and I don't want to go too much longer than this. But if you read this, he talks about that when you start a pendulum and it kind of goes back and forth, he says that a pendulum, when it reaches on the other side, it never, I'm sorry, let me repeat. When the pendulum swings and then it swings back, it doesn't go to the exact height. So let's say you start the pendulum and it goes like this. See what's going on? The pendulum is losing momentum. And that's part of action. sometimes we do that. We start something up and then we kind of lose action into it. And that's kind of like willpower, your energy throughout the day. And so he wants you to say, hey, keep that pendulum the same cycle. Very interesting. So he talks about perfectionism. So perfectionist. I don't think I'm a perfectionist in a way. I think there's a couple things I like to have perfectionists. But perfectionists, psychologists say that the number one cause of procrastination is self-criticism. The reason we don't want to start things because then nobody can criticize us of it. That's kind of cool, isn't it? I never really thought about this. But if you want to start something, you're afraid to start something because you're afraid to get criticized of it, maybe from yourself or from others. And so that's really what gets you away. And when you're a perfectionist, you want everything into its little teeny spots, right? Be perfect. But when it's not perfect, you're afraid of criticism from other people. I like that too. I'm going to tell you, I would get this book. Very awesome stuff in there. So, hopefully that makes sense. And just be careful of what you wish for yourself. Use the right words. Remember, the microphone's always on. There's people always looking at you. Procrastination is learned. Try to unlearn it. It's okay to have a little bit, but don't let it overtake you. It's a balance. But you have to have your priorities done first, right? Very interesting things, and make a commitment onto yourself. So I highly recommend it. I don't know where I got this book from. I might have got it online. I might have got it at a bookstore. I'm not too sure. I forget. It's been years. But I think that you should get this book. Read it. But I'm not trying to advertise it, but I think that what I discussed in there is really a lot of good stuff in this that relates to you a lot quicker. So hopefully that made sense, and I will see you in the next video.